Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Today is a very special day. I have not only one, but two wonderful guests. I invited both of the colorists from my former salon, Luxe Color Lounge, to join me for coffee chat. Every one of you are in this place where you've been, out of the salon for too long, a longer time than you ever thought possible. And I'm sure you're feeling a little anxious about returning, or some of you have already returned and you're feeling super overwhelmed with how am I ever going to get all of these clients in? What is it going to look like? Trying to talk to them and give them good service while talking through a mask, all of those things. So the two wonderful women that I'm going to be introducing have not returned to the salon yet. We are in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania finally gave the green light for this Friday. So I wanted to grab both of them when they're still home to have them together. And I don't want to spend this coffee chat boohooing about what was and COVID, and everybody's so tired of hearing about it. I want them to share their story with you on their success as colorists and, maybe some things that they do differently than most colorists in order to be very successful on purpose. It's never an accident when you have a certain level of success. It takes discipline, education, and really showing up for yourself and for your clients. So I'm going to introduce both of them at the same time. We'll see how it goes with all three of us, and then maybe we'll do one at a time. So right now, I would like to introduce Jessica and Alicia, both expert colorists that specialize in color in the salon. There's Jess. Hey, Jess.
Hi.
And there's Alicia. Oh, I like your hair.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, guys.
How are you girls doing today?
Very good.
Are you a little anxious about the return to crazy? I'm sure your phones have been blowing up with everybody begging you for underground hair. I know mine was, and I'm in Florida.
They're going to fly down.
Not even that. They're just, please make somebody do something and I'm like, I have nothing to do with it. And we are not breaking the law anytime soon. So I can't even imagine what it was like for you. And, most of us spent the time during COVID. I shouldn't say most of us, me and my crew just ate our way through the coronavirus because we were trapped at home and we just were like, it's like a snowstorm. It's like a 3-month snowstorm. So it's like, oh, cookies at night and brownies and sundaes and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Alicia is like a beast doing all of her workouts and exercise. So it's interesting how we had a choice, right? We all were put on a big pause, whether we liked it or not. I felt like a little bit like a toddler in timeout. I was really defiant about it and really pissed off because I'm a control freak. But both of you probably had a totally different experience during that time off and made it your own little mini retreat in some way. Looking inward, like, is everything working in what I'm doing? You couldn't help but start to be a little introspective of like, how do I want to do things differently? So I know, like I said, Alicia, I don't know what order you're in on their screen. To me, Alicia, raise your hand, or it says your name on there. That's good. So Alicia got involved with a fitness program and is an affiliate for them and got in like tip-top shape. And she poured herself into that during COVID. Jess, what did you do to keep yourself busy and not go crazy being at home?
Well, I did a lot. It was actually kind of nice. I got a lot of stuff done around the house. Like I painted my whole house, got new furniture. And
Nice.
luckily I have a Peloton at home. So I was working out as well.
I'm so jealous. So I'm like taking up 3/4 of the screen right now from my COVID eating binge.
No, you look
awesome.
good, Elaine.
Do you like the Peloton? Do you have the treadmill or the bike?
I have the bike. It's right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's cool. It works. It's nice because even like when we go back to work, like I'm going to be going in earlier. So it's nice to be able to like get my workout in at home, not have to go to a gym and all that stuff. And same with Alicia. She can do all that stuff at home as well. So it's nice.
I want to cry just watching Alicia do her exercise. Like, I don't even have to do it. And I'll go on Instagram and I'm like sweating for her. And then when she puts the miles
Oh
up
my
front.
God.
And did you do your own mini Broad Street? Did you just say F it and run it anyway?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
God
cool.
bless. God
Thanks.
bless.
No, I did not want to go. I have friends that are asking me to do a marathon now, and I'm like, I have to check my ego, because other than to say like, oh, I did it, I'm like, I don't have any, like, the thought of doing that one twice and a half. I just don't think I have any desire to do that.
Yeah,
So I'm
but your
happy with
discipline is
10.
very impressive for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So I introduced you guys and said, we all know that we're going back and it's going to be hell and all that. So I don't really want to get into all that, as tempting as it is to talk about COVID, because that's all anybody talks about. I want to talk about both of you and your story as far as making the leap into specializing in color. Both of you started out, as we all do, as generalists, doing everything, and you enjoyed doing everything. Haircutting, I know for Alicia, styling and updos was a big hurdle of like, I'm never going to be able to do a style again. So just maybe give some advice on somebody who maybe is a generalist right now, feels like they have to be, because that's how we all started out and thought that's the only way. And what life looks like on the other side of taking that leap and doing just one thing really, really well.
You going first, Jess, or you want me to go first?
Oh, I thought you said you. Go ahead, Alicia. You go first.
I can still remember when you said that, and I was like, what do you mean I don't want to do everything? Now I can't imagine it being any different. Like, to be able to just specialize in one thing, and then all of my learning or the things that I watch or little tips that I pick up from other people, like, it's all streamlined into that one thing. And I think the biggest thing, it was hard. And even with like the blow drying, not doing it, like, to say, this is not my department. This is not my thing. I specialize in color, and to really own it, the confidence that comes with that behind the chair is huge, huge.
Yeah,
So
I have to say,
I'm
looking forward to that as well. Just like Bryn's definitely like, not pressuring me, but trying to get me to be more like, no, I'm not going to blow dry your hair because I should be doing color. And I feel like once I get to that point, like, I feel like my time's going to be faster, and I'm not like worrying about, oh my God, now I only have 30 minutes to do this blow dry and curls, when like they should be seeing someone else for that anyway. So I think it's going to like be a game changer. It's just like, it's like you hold on to something in a way, because you're like, oh, I've been cutting this person's hair for so long and I always do their blow dries. But really, in like the big picture, it's nice to like have that push. That's like, no, they want you to do better for a reason. And then when you're in that one department, you like skyrocket in it. Like, you like master it in a way.
My major aha moment was when I felt so guilty about, I had my salon for like 15 years. When I opened the second location, I said, that is the cutoff. That is when I'm going to no longer do little Johnny Harry Taffy, scary Bridezilla, all those things that I did not like doing. And of course, I felt connected and attached to these clients. I was like, oh my gosh, I was her first hairdresser. Like, there's girls that I was the first person to cut their hair, and then I saw them get married and have kids and then cut their kids' hair. And one of my client, Margie, you guys know, Margie says to me, oh, the best day of my life is when you decided to stop cutting hair. She said, you gave me the best, most beautiful haircut, but you're blow dry. I used to go home, and she would be my last of the night, right? So I would be blow drying her hair at like 10 p.m. and the sweaty lip and the, so hot, like just trying to keep going. And I'm like, she's going to bed. Like, I'm stressing myself out over this blow dry, and she's going to bed. And she was a teacher, so she had to get up at the butt crack of dawn to go do her thing at the school. And she would wake up in the morning and re-blow it dry because my blow dry was so bad. And she came right out and said it. And I thought, she just gave me permission. She just gave me the permission to be okay with the fact that I don't like it either. I'm doing something that I don't like for people that don't like how I'm doing it, but they're not telling me they don't like it, and I'm not telling them I don't like it. And it's like relationships, you know, when you finally tell somebody how you really feel about something and they're like, oh my God, thank God I hated it too, you know?
And for it to just be the communication with that, my cousin Megan she was like the prime person. And I felt like, oh, I'm going to hurt her feelings if I tell her, I want you to see her, and maybe it will cost you more. Like all the things I was afraid I was going to do wrong. She had one haircut with Mary. She is a lawyer or whatever. She said, your colleague gives the best haircut ever. And then it was like in a pinch later. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do it. She's like, no, I'll wait for her. Like,
I'll wait.
She was relieved. Because my haircuts are average at best. Like if I needed them to make a living and I needed to go somewhere and do it, I could get by. They're not terrible. I'm not, but they are average at best. And I don't know. I don't ever want to go back to doing all of it. That seems like a stressful, hard, like the thought of juggling that schedule all day long. You probably wouldn't even get a lunch or a bathroom break, bouncing person to person. Can't even hold the conversation and maintain the relationship because you're just flying all over the place. Like that would stress me out.
I think too, that is going to be the biggest thing for like, especially a couple of my insider members are used to double booking and working 3 chairs. And with this COVID rule, like going back, you're not allowed to do that. So I think for those people, it's more of a transition and uncomfortable to not go so fast and so hard. But I have had people comment that they will never go back to how it was. So I really think it's been a huge reset for a lot of people that we just keep doing things that we've always done because that's what we've always done and for no other reason than it's just like the routine. But I think it's an awesome gift to like almost start over again in a different direction. And when you were saying earlier about, putting all your education and learning everything in the one topic, I've been spending a lot of time over this break, binging on all new education. Redken has done a lot of education. I've sent you guys a bunch of stuff. Hopefully you had a chance to see it, but there was a class with Chris Barron, who's amazing at cutting. He was with Lori Zabel from Redken, and it was a 2-hour class. I have no problem sitting through an 8-hour class. Like I'm glued no matter what, because I love what we do. But as soon as they took a break and the haircut came on, that's when I went and had lunch and kind of had half of an ear in, half out, and was like, I'm kind of interested, but I'm not. And when we used to go together to Beth and Carmine to their beauty focus, I love Carmine. I love how he cuts. I love how he teaches. They would both be up on the stage. And I would think to myself, I'm going to definitely leave here with both techniques. I'm going to understand the cut and the color. And my eyes would be glued on Beth the entire time. And all of a sudden, Carmine would take the cape off and do this like ta-da. And I was like, oh shit, I just missed that whole haircut. And I didn't pay any attention. Yeah, I checked out. So right then was an indication of my passion was in a different direction, for sure. And Philip and Mary did that amazing. Philip offered all of us his double brush technique with his hair cutting technique. And it was a 4-hour class. And it felt like a 10-hour class for me because it was a cutting. If it was color, I would have been like, wow, it's over. Like you just know what you're into. I think we lost Jess.
Yeah, I see her. She's black. She's just a black box on my screen.
Let me take her out and see if she can regroup so we don't stare at her black screen. So hair color wise, you have a lot of experience now. You understand how color works, and you can pretty much cook in any kitchen, right? You can pick up any brand and kind of figure it out, but you also have done it long enough to know that you better know what you're cooking with, because a lot of different lines behave completely differently, and a 7N in one line and a 7N in another can be vastly different. I don't have it right here. I did some swatches recently. I had heard a lot of good things about Colora color gloss. Have you tried any of those?
No.
Colora. So I know you use the black light clay. We'll talk about that, but they have a version of Shades EQ-esque color. It's not exactly like Shades. Apparently their claim to fame is they've taken all the best things of a demi, but taken the things of a permanent that we like, or I'm sorry, an acid demi and an alkaline demi. The difference between the two is sometimes more longevity, more opacity. So they took certain things from each and created this hybrid gloss. And I was like, I miss you so much. My gray is in, and I've been doing my own color, not well. Bryn did it last time. She did pretty good, but I still need an overhaul when I come visit. But my gray is starting. I would love for you to. My gray is starting to do that. Like, nope, you're not covering me. So I chose Shades EQ for a lot of reasons. I didn't want lift. I didn't want brassiness. I just wanted the gray to be the, eyebrow gross brown that I have from God, minus the gray, so that I can highlight like I was 25 again. That's my goal. So Shades has given me that, and it's given me that translucency where it doesn't look heavy and inky and dyed, for lack of a more professional word. It doesn't look like wiggy. So it's stopping doing its magic. And I'm like, crap, I really don't want to get into. Did you see my Instagram post with how gold I was when I had the Redken gels on there? Bryn posted it recently, and I was like, oh my Lord. I thought I was this fabulous blonde, and it is a big ball of gold. So I don't want that. I don't want to go back to that. See if you can see that. It's like tangerine, right? So look at, let's put her next to me. Oh, everything's backwards. So it's almost like peach compared to what I have now. And that's what happens when you disturb that natural pigment in the hair that gets disrupted when you go in with permanent color. So I was like, you know what? This Colorist sounds amazing. It's like doing the dance between permanent and demi-permanent, and it's going to give me that better deposit. I wish I had hold on. I have crap all over my office, but I know I saved the swatches. It really did cover a lot better, but the result almost looks mahogany. It disturbed like just enough of that underlying pigment to bring out the warmth, and it's super dark. Like this swatch, what level do you think this is?
At least a 6.
This was a 7N in Colora. Look at it on my hair.
It's dark.
Like if you put this on my whole head, I would hire a contract killer to come get you.
Cry.
So, right. So if you're used to using, Joico Lumi Shine or Schwarzkopf, I don't even know the name of their demi, but if you're used to a demi line, you assume that a 7 is a 7. I know I do. I'm like, oh, 7N, I'll do that. So it really, really is the best education you'll ever do is taking the time to do these. It's a pain in the ass. Like I set up a table and I look like a little mad scientist and I have all these timers going, but that was huge. Like if I was the typical stylist, I see so many stylists are so brave. They're like, you're one of them. You'll like slap something on. You're like, oh, it's brand new from Wallow. Sarah said it's great. I'm slapping it on. And I'm like, okay. I'm such a nerd. I'm so wimpy with that kind of stuff. And I mean, let's face it, that's when you learn your biggest lessons, right? It's not always a bad thing, but when you're the one wearing it, it's different. So like that was huge for me. I wish I had the other piece, like the regular 7N. Now I don't use 7N and Shades to cover my gray because N doesn't have the ability to cover it. So it's not apples to apples, but I only had 7N in the Colora. So I was like, I want to do apples to apples on the swatch. So the Redken 7N did absolutely nothing. Didn't make it darker, didn't cover the gray. It was like I never did anything at all on the test swatch. And then this, I said to my son, I always ask my son because he's not in our world and he just sees whatever. He knows I'm not looking for a certain answer. And he was like, oh, it's really dark and it looks almost purple. So you can't really, it's not really showing on the camera, but it has this like mahogany iridescence to it that would make me absolutely miserable. So I don't know whether I'm going to play with maybe going a lot lighter with that. However, when you have that hybrid technology, you're going to have that little bit of shift. So if I jump up in Colora to a 9 and put that on my gray, it's also going to start to lighten my natural even though it's a demi. So it gets tricky. So understanding, Donna says, I see that mahogany. It gets tricky when you don't pay attention to the chemistry. I see Jess is back, so I want to bring her back in. I want to talk about the Redken M series, the matte series. So first of all, they come out with a series and they call it matte. So what's the first thing that you think of when you hear matte?
Inky.
Like flat gray.
Flat, matte. Like I'm thinking shades cute, gloss, shiny, shimmery, matte. I think of matte nail polish, how there's like no shine and it's completely like I thought it was going to be less shiny. And then I was like, sometimes if I don't understand anything, I just walk away. I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm on to the next thing. So I didn't really dig in or try it. And then I started seeing on a lot of the Shades EQ forums, people were raving over these mattes. So this girl yesterday, it totally triggers me when I see this. And I want to be like mom and be like, oh, honey, no. And this is why, da, 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 da. And it's not well received at all. So God bless the two of you for putting up with me all these years when I'm shoving it down your throat, whether you like it or not. So thick. But it's from love and passion. Like when I see the same question over and over and over, and every single time I have a client coming in, this is her inspiration. What do I use? And they're not showing the client. So the client could be Alicia, the client could be Jess, completely two different people that I'm working on. How the hell am I supposed to give you a recipe? Am I supposed to give you, well, if she's a redhead and has box dye at home and 3 inches of regrowth in her zone too, is it like, can I see her? Can I see the before? So this girl posted, I am obsessed with the M series. OMG. I am using this on every one of my clients. Now, what's wrong with that statement?
Not everyone is a candidate for it.
What, like the matte series is blue green. What do you think's going to happen when she starts skipping to her loo and putting that on every single person? Me, like picture matte on me, matte on Alicia, matte on Jessica. 3 completely. I'm going to look like pond scum. Alicia's probably not going to do very much. I can't tell. Or you're not real reddish right now. You don't have great lighting.
It's kind of, this was just I only did my color one time during this whole quarantine, and it was like last week. And I put it on and went and played in the yard and gave myself hot roots from the sun on the top part of my head. Some people would die. The cool part of it was what little stuff that I have at home, I went digging through, and I knew I needed something with a blue base to cancel out that reddy orange, and I got 6T, and you would never know that the sun messed up my own hair.
We're our own worst enemies, right?
Yeah.
And it is beautiful. I did swatches yesterday because of that statement. I was like, all right, I got some time on my hands. I had just gotten new swatches in, and I tested the M's. My number just wiped off. This is 9M. So it looks almost like violety gray. So it wouldn't be awful, but it wouldn't be very flattering to my skin tone. And this is 9. This is a level 9. My hair is a level 10. So that's pretty deep and pretty drab. And I think people forget that when something's super cool, it's going to read darker, Actually, Ashley is on here, one of my students. She used the 9M on herself, and she's about Alicia's level. And she said she couldn't believe how deep it was, that she should have, added some clear to it. So just be aware of that. And then this is the 7M. So when I held this up on the level finder, it is a true 7, but I think again, because it's so cool, like that's the 7 tester. So it's not like as flat and drabby, sorry, wrong way, as this level 7, but it is a true 7, and it was done on a 10. But just knowing, and then comes the whole cocktail, right? It's like, and Jess, you're gonna be able to speak to this. When you first started working at the salon, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna put a little of this and a little of that. Like there was no why. Talk about that. Yeah, share that with everyone. The whole thought process behind your glazes and your even your permanent formulas.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a game changer once I took Elaine's classes. And I'm this week, like, I'm like getting in the headspace and going back on and like watching the classes where like before I would watch, I'm like, okay, this is good. But now I'm going back. I need to go in and watch again now. So that just helped a lot. Just kind of like knowing why you're doing things. Like I had like an aha moment. We had the M's now for a little bit in the salon. And I used it on Donna, which is my friend Tori's mom, and her hair, she lives in Conshohocken, so the water's hard. And she always has like this coppery, like almost reddish tone. And I put an M on her and her hair looked like it was like earthy almost. Like it just like worked so well. And I was like, this is the perfect color refresh for people who have like that coppery reddish tone. And I was like, all right, I'm really understanding color now. Like it just like, it's almost like a learning experience every single day. And I feel like I'm finally starting to like get it. Like I got it, but it's like I learned something new every day, which is really nice.
Now, talk about that scenario pre-getting it and pre-M series. You probably would have reached for your favorite V, right?
I think I probably would have reached for like a VB, but that's even like I like the VBs, but they are very like drab too. Like it's pretty deep. So I definitely I'm a clear girl more than I ever realized now. Like clear is very impactful. It helps a lot.
But understanding like a VB, we see this V in our mind and we're like, oh, no yellow. This is perfect. Right. But we don't take the time to think what makes violet, like what two colors mixed together create violet.
Right. And if I were to use that on her, like she didn't have any like yellow or brass in her hair to cancel it out. So it's like that would never have done anything. And like, even when you were in the salon and Alicia was doing my hair, we were like, no, we have to go down a level to cancel it out. So just like, I don't know, being told is like, it's helpful, like to make you realize.
And then talk about the whole like, oh, your hair just is warm and that's just the way it is with the whole seventh head.
Oh my God.
I always talk about my 7N girls. You're one of my 7N girls.
Well, I just thought like natural would cover gray. So I would just stick with natural. And then I'm like, well, their hair wasn't that gray, which I didn't know the demi thing. I'm like, I like the demi for covering gray, especially if your hair is not like coarse or wiry. But, and I'm like, oh, wait, so you have to have ash because she's not that much gray. So it's not so warm. So just like understanding that was just a game changer. I was just a hair cutter, so I wasn't really educated except for beauty school, that knowledge, and that was out the window. I forgot that. So I was just thrown into it. And then when I trained with you, that was when it was like, okay, this is great. This makes sense. I think I could get this down.
But do you think it's safe to say that you could have gone on that way forever? Like, I think there's a huge percentage of hairstylists that are guessing 15 years into their career doing the 7N shuffle. You were fine. You were totally content. You had clients coming in, they were busy. You were, they were accepting the fact that you said, oh, this is just your hair.
Yeah, they definitely were, because I was the person doing their hair and they didn't know any better. But yeah, I think definitely people could go on for a long time doing that. And I had people like reach out to me on Instagram, like, oh, I love your work. Like, how did you like get this far? And like stuff like that, which was like so moving to me. And I was just like, if I could give you any advice, you have to like assist underneath someone. Like you can't just get thrown into it, or else you're really just going to be like, I'm already like an anxiety kind of girl. So like, you're just going to be a mess. Like you need to have the training and like just how to know how to make the salon run smoother and education behind it. So I'm like, train under someone. You have to. It's worth it.
100%. And my fear right now, something that's really happening a lot, is the whole solo suite model is wonderful. If you're busy, you're experienced, like you got this. You don't need any camaraderie, any help. You're just that hairdresser. You're like, I just want to go in, do my heads, go home. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want culture. I don't want any of that stuff. These young stylists, I saw it 3 times yesterday. Just got my suite, just signed the lease, can't wait. Anybody have any advice? I'm like, honey, don't ask me, because you are walking into a fire. Like you have no business being in a suite if you're right out of school. The things that you learn in those first 2 years, just screwing up head, like Alicia, talk about your hot roots yesterday. Like you're going to give hot roots out the wazoo. You're going to be getting spotty blonding. You're going to have bleeds foils. You're going to be, doing uneven haircuts, over texturizing people, burning people with perm solution. I mean, there's so many things that we do in those first 2 years that if you're paying rent somewhere and utilities and insurance and all of those things, you can't expect clients to be your guinea pig. You have to work on 50 doll heads and 50, unsuspecting relatives before you can start to have your own deal behind a solo chair. So that frightens me. That and the fact that in a solo situation, you don't have any walk-in traffic. People aren't just going to find you. And, people say like, oh, social media, just make sure your pictures are on point. I got to tell you, I have never gotten a client from social media ever. If we did a structured, an ad that we did when Jess first started, like balayage and this, like that was intentional. We went after a certain demographic and an age group, and it was a paid ad. That's completely different than, that typical Instagram picture where the hair is all fanned out. It's like, come see me. No, I'm not coming to see you. That's not bringing me in, So
I would never be able to do that. And like, also just having like Alicia next to me, or like, I don't know, to have a new client and like see a salon and like, they can pay attention to what Mary Beth's doing or listen to Alicia and her conversation. So different than being by yourself. And I know some people go in on it with someone, but I just feel like that is just so messy. And it's so nice to have like a salon atmosphere. I could never be by myself. I wouldn't want to go to work. I'd be like, oh no, schedule when I want. Like, I would not want to do that.
Well, that's the irony of the whole sweet thing. Somebody said, I want to do it because I want freedom and I want to keep all the money. Now, I just found out last night that you have an exciting thing coming up that you're purchasing, and Alicia's out car shopping and I'm driving my 2002 Hoopty. So much for keeping all the money when you're the boss. And that's the thing that I want to scream from the rooftops. Like, there are times, I mean, I owned the salon for 30 years. There are many times that you go home without a paycheck so that your staff is paid and safe. You sacrifice a lot for that role or term, boss or owner or whatever. People, I think, get more into the ego of it, of like, I want to be in control and I want to be able to do the decor and the music and all that. But, I say all the time, and Alicia's heard me say it probably 35 million times, that like, I want it to work in my salon as you guys. Like, I want it to be the person who puts the key in the door, walks in, oh, the music's on. Oh, wow, the coffee pot's there and there's milk and there's flavored Starbucks and the, towels are fluffy and clean and everything is there. And I'm not saying that it was all because of me. We have a super strong culture, and that's hands down the key to success in any group atmosphere is the culture. 100%. Like, you guys are amazing colorists, but if we had that whole mean girl banter going on, like, nobody wants to go to work. And I think that salons pay more attention to the decor and the Instagram and the followers and the likes and all of that than their own culture among their staff and healing that. Because when you don't have that, it's just the clients can feel that tension. They can pick it up within seconds of walking in the door.
Yeah, it's so true. It's nice.
Go
ahead. No, you go.
No, I was going to say, no one's ever above anything in the salon. That it's like, you have a touch-up processing and Mary Beth's running behind, do a shampoo, do a shampoo. You do some tail, like, for like the whole big picture. And I think that that's what creates the relationships and the loyalty, or the like, I don't have time. You see Jess for this visit. She has Wednesday, whatever. I'm not here on Wednesday, and never, like, they just they fully feel comfortable and like they are ours, not mine, not yours, not whatever. Like, they're just the loyalty through this, which like women used to be, no, I need Friday at whatever. So now it's 3 months, and I couldn't believe the amount of the virtual consultations that I did, where it was like full roots, nothing touched, no one going there or whatever. And they're loyal because they love us as a whole, not just one person. And I think it's because everyone takes such pride in what they do.
Absolutely.
100%. And that's what I want to see Nancy. There's no way Nancy has this much roots.
Lubbock. Oh,
Yeah, that's all right.
sorry. When I called, she did. I called her
Really?
back.
I just thought of certain people and I was like, there's no way that Betty Jane, Nancy, like those were the ones that popped into my mind. And I'm like, I want to come back just to see their roots. Like they're so high maintenance and they're so on it. They have to be freaking out.
I messed up my virtual consultations and I called her while she was peeling her potatoes. I thought I missed her appointment. It was another Nancy that I missed the appointment of. So she's peeling her potatoes. Like, why are you calling me? Sweet as can be. And it like went well. I was like, oh.
Oh my God. So she did have roots. All right.
So she did. Yeah. Yeah. She's been reaching out to me consistently. So she'll be in the beginning pool of people coming back in.
Good. So we have a comment. Deanna says, I miss having a tribe. Being in a suite is like being in timeout. I could not agree more. I spent 3 months in a suite. And you guys know I don't shut the hell up. Like it's really, I talk more than anyone you'll ever know. And I'm in there and I'm like, you're sitting in there and you're waiting for your client and it's all quiet. And you see that there's other stuff going on down the hall, but everybody's kind of in their little Stuart Little drawer. And I would try to be as friendly, but not like going into their room, just like, hey, waving. And it's kind of like, they would kind of like just look at me like, what do you want? And then I would see somebody in the bathroom and try to drum up a conversation and they'd be standing there on their phone and be like, and just look at me like, why are you trying to talk to me? And at first I thought it was a generational thing because the girls that I saw were much younger than me. And I'm like, oh, they're probably like, oh, this old lady, she's going to come in and do her roller sets. Why is she even here? And I have like the photographer filtered lights and like all this stuff going on with these models. And I'm doing these 5-hour transformations. And then they're kind of looking at me like, well, who is she? What's going on? But nobody was friendly. Like it was really weird for me. And I'm like, I miss my girls. I miss my culture. Like I really thought that because I had 34 years of experience and I'm not shy and I could walk up to anybody and be like, hey, I want to do your hair. It's not like when you're right out of school and you're like, how am I ever going to get a client? But the whole thing was just not what I pictured it to be. And I think the industry as a whole, I think also with COVID, a lot of people had some screwed up things with their paycheck that now they're suffering. You guys pay your taxes, you're on the books, you can buy a house, you can buy a car, like you're completely legitimately on the book for what you make financially. And people think that by being creative and doing a 1099 and getting paid under the table and, I don't report what I do on Saturday or whatever it is, all those people, when the government said, hey, COVID is screwing everybody up, here's some money, they're not getting it because they took the easy way and it's like it bit them in the ass. Yeah. So there's a lot of confusion with, what are you? Are you an independent contractor? Are you commission? Are you a renter? Are you a solo suite? What are you? And then that don't even get me started with the mobile underground crap going on. Like that's a whole other shit show. And I can't imagine, first of all, bringing all the crap with you and then sticking somebody's head in a sink. Like Bryn came down to visit and I'm like, oh, let me do a video for my course. I'll do your highlights. And she's over the sink and all of her blood is rushing to her head and my back's killing me and I'm twisting. And she's like, who the hell likes getting this done? Like, what makes a celebrity want to have this done in their house when they're a celebrity and they could go anywhere and get pampered? Why would you want to stick your head in somebody's sink? So it's crazy. Crazy industry.
Yeah, no way.
I think the way that we operate kind of like elevates it. And sometimes that makes me like proud. I remember people still ask like why I went to college and I thought people would think I was stupid if I was just a hairdresser. And now I'm like really like proud of what I do. And it feels really good to be educated and learn relationships with people and learn the business side of some things and just be involved. Like it's like woven into who I am. So it's not like going to work. And I think a lot of that comes with like really good education.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like I can't imagine ever. I would probably have to have like 2 broken legs. And even then I'd get a stool. Like I just can't imagine ever doing anything different. Yeah. I just can't.
I remember like talking to Bryn in the beginning of all this whole thing. And I was like, this girl reached out to me and she like wants to know if she should get started in the industry. And I said to her, I'm like, I just want to write like an essay about how this is the best industry to be in. Like, I wish I could like go into detail, like why it's so great. And I kind of did. Like, I had to send a message like in 4 different things. So I was like, yes, do it. But you get to make sure it's right for you too, though. Like I always say, go in and get a job shadow for a couple of weeks and see if you like it first, because it's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. It's not, I mean, you know, I always talk about that 80-20 rule. I was the most impressed with Jess, when you came in, like that was a pretty intimidating situation. You're coming in and you're basically being groomed to take over 30 years of a clientele of someone who's been doing hair for 34 years. And you're coming from 7N world and you're like, okay. And you know, you say you have anxiety and you were like nervous about coming on here, but you have a little bit more moxie than you think you do. Your personality and the way that you present yourself, people would like watching right now. I'm sure not one single person watching thinks that you were doing the nail bite about getting on here. And when you came into the salon, it was literally like, I think you were there maybe 2 weeks and, you know, I'm behind the chair doing my thing and you would walk by and you could have easily walked past Alicia's client, my client, and gone right to your client and just said, hey, come on back, da, 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 which most people do, right? In salons, it's like this, the blinders are on. The entire way walking through the salon, hi, I'm Jess. Nice to meet you. I just started 2 weeks ago. Like, it was like you were first day at camp. Like, hi, let me be your friend. I'm Jess. And the difference is when I physically left the building, it was like, oh, Jess, yeah, she can do my hair. Because you took the time to introduce yourself and made that person feel like they were seen, you know? So it's always that part of it that's so much more important than how fabulous you are on Instagram, what kind of crazy hat you're wearing, or, you know, how fabulously you're dressed. Like, I think some people have it twisted and they just don't realize that it's not about us. It never was. It's about serving and giving to somebody, not just the hair. Like, to Alicia's point, your clients are looking like this. They have 6 inches of roots and they can't wait to come see you. And not because you're taking away that awful root line. Like, they could have done that themselves at Walmart, right? They could have gone to Walmart. They could have gone to Walgreens. We actually were giving them tips on like, hey, if you're really losing it, just do this and don't go anywhere past where the gray is. And they chose not to do it because they trust us and they trust that we're professionals and that we're going to make it look, you know, even though it took longer, we're going to make it look a lot better than they could have at home. Something interesting that I'm finding with my members, we had a quick check-in and a couple of them said that they are getting requests from brand new clients for the first time in a long time. So how we chose to behave during this time, I think, is affecting, like, if you shrunk into your little snail shell and we're like, okay, I'm not open, so leave me alone, I'm going to hide. You both made appointments to virtually check in and make that client feel seen and heard and cared for virtually. And I think that's going to go a long way in retention. To your point, like some of them, you know, I know one of Alicia's clients flew down to Florida and could have her hair done here. She just kept texting me saying, you're not open yet. You're not open yet. You're such a rebel. Why are you not opening? I'm like, it's not my slot anymore. It's not my call. And I'm not going to do something and risk, you know, the license and the reputation of the salon. That's all we need is to get shut down and be made an example of. I've already been in that cosmetology newsletter for my expired license. That was embarrassing. I was like the only person who still worked in a legitimate, beautiful salon that was written up because, and this is a little public service announcement. When you move, make sure that you reach out to the state board. I assumed, like, Jess, right now, if you moved to, you know, 4 blocks from your house, would you think of calling the state board? I just assumed that my mail gets forwarded. I'm going to get my license thing. And because you only renew it every 2 years, it was past that forwarding. I think it forwards your mail for like 6 months or something. So they're sending it to my old address. And of course, those people didn't take the time to be like, oh shit, this looks like an official government document. I should send it to her. So I'm doing my thing, doing hair. And one day somebody was getting a job and bringing their license. And I'm going through the licenses and I'm like, oh my God, my license has been expired for 1.5 years. What the hell? Maybe I just didn't bring in the new one. So I told them myself, I called the state board and I was like, what's going on? My license says, and they were like, oh, we've been sending you renewal things and you never renewed. I got fined like a couple grand. I had to pay like $5 for every day that I was doing hair without a light. I mean, it looked like I just was like, okay, state board, I'm not getting my license. And I had my salon license. So like I saw that and I knew that wasn't expired. So I mean, how many times do you look at your damn cosmetology license? I got it in 1986 for God's sakes. Like I don't ever look at it. So it was one of those things that we still joke about because I was in the cosmetology newsletter with all the nail salons that use the razor and get in trouble. I was in there.
Oh God.
Gina's on here laughing. She was there when that happened. They literally,
Gina.
Hi, Gina.
They sent a court like a marshal, like a guy with a badge came to the salon and like looked through the book to see that my name book. I mean, look at how long ago it was. It was a paper book. And he's like, oh, I see you work that day. He counted every day that I was in the salon the entire time. And it was like $5 a day or something. Lesson learned, people. Learn from my little faux pas.
I better check my license before I go back to work now.
Right?
Good.
Well, especially if you move.
I still feel like an adult when I do it ahead of time. I feel like so together.
I mean, think about your driver's license. Like if the state didn't send you that notice saying it's time for you to get it, like I don't ever just go, it's Wednesday. I wonder if any of my licenses are expired. Like you count on that notification. And then when you move, that's something that you don't even think about, that you as an adult have to say, you know, hey, I moved. Hey, I moved. Hey, I moved. Send it to this new place. So I can laugh about it now, but it was Donna. Donna said, that's overkill. I know they're overkill when it's something silly like that, right? Someone who is as passionate about what they do as I am, and I get slapped on the wrist only in PA. Yeah, of course. Let's see what else, other questions we have. Rose says, color terrifies me, scared I won't do it right. My teacher just threw me it and never explained. Unfortunately, not Donna though. Donna Hogg is a teacher that explains. She's awesome. But that happened to a lot of us. You know, we were handed, like at G. Madeline, did they just hand you a bowl of color and say, have at it? Or did they tell you what was in that bowl?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. At beauty school, because at the salon, I was just cutting hair and styling. But oh my God, I can't even think back to beauty school. I don't even know. I felt like they did like the 10 volume, 20 volume, 30 volume. If you
the levels of left.
Yeah, that's what that. And then it was all Veda color. So it was all like custom kind of stuff, but I don't really remember. Nothing really clicked that way.
Good. Forget it. Forget it all.
That may have been on my side.
I remember little old ladies coming in. They had the oxygen mask and they had the little curly perm and they would sit in the chair and the teacher would take a peek from like 12 inches away and be like, okay. And she'd go in the back. We had swinging like saloon doors in the mixing area. Mm-hmm. She'd swing through, start doing all, and it was liquid Clairol at the time. It was the 80s. And she would do this little brew and she would hand it to me, lid on, totally shaken with a pair of gloves and say, put this on, just put it on the new hair, set the timer for 30 minutes and then come get me. And I had no idea what was in that bottle. I still don't know. No reason why. No, I use this because, and it was frightening when I came out. It was like, I have no idea. And then to Jess's point about finding a good mentor, I was always in love with the beach. So I graduated from school and it was like, I think I went a little bit over the 9-month mark. I was determined to get out exactly at 9 months. I was like maybe a week longer for sick days or whatever. And I got out and I was like, I just want to go to the beach and just chill for a couple weeks. And then I'm going to try to find a job. And my phone rang and it was my friend from high school's dad who owned a little neighborhood salon. And he was like, hey, E, I hear you're out of beauty school. You want a job? I was like, okay. And that was my first job. I didn't interview. I didn't see what the salon looked like. I was so excited and honored that he came for me and thought that I was good enough to be behind a chair. And then I show up and it's this little neighborhood. None of the chairs matched. One was pink, one was orange, one was black. They had those Jetson type hair dryers with the hood that looked like something out of, George Jetson. And the average age was, 74 with the deposit on the funeral plot. Everybody was on their way out. And he had 3 colors. I'll never forget it. Miss Clairol. 27G was if you wanted to be that brunette, that blonde, in between brunette and blonde. I think it was 26R was like a red ginger. And then there was like 26D was like a super drab blonde. Like there was 3 liquid bottles to choose from, and that was color. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. He only has 3 colors and everyone looks different when they leave. That is so cool. And now I think about it and I'm like, the reason they look different is because they came in looking different, and that color behaved differently on all of those heads, and they were accidentally happy because it did okay. They weren't like, their color was never going to be in a magazine, but they were happy. Their gray was covered and they were, pretty pleased with what they saw. And he did double process blondes, which I did learn a lot from him with that. He did the old school, like everybody was bleached and toned with the T series in Wella that's still around. But it's crazy. You don't know what you don't know. And once you know, you wish you could go back. Like, do you ever think about those clients that you did when you first started out? I'm like, God, I wish I could go back and give it another stab and do what I know now on her and wow her now. But that's all part of it. It's all part of the learning process.
I think that's my favorite part about never stopping learning too, is sometimes it's like something tiny. Like it's not like a big, like something that's like fundamental, like the color wheel or whatever. It can be like the littlest thing taken from one class that you use always.
So that brings me to one of my questions for you. What is your favorite new thing that you learned recently that excites you? Like, it's hard to find new things at this stage of the game, like a new tool, a new technique. What's something that pops into your head?
The Sheila Stotts brush that you gifted us. Incredible.
I used that last night.
Yeah, and so good. Root shadowing different ways, like all the videos and the ways to part the hair and leave the front hairline out, and then really bringing it down, making sure it's formulated deep enough to counteract the fact that the hair is damp and that the hair is so light for what the final like read is going to be. Probably is like my favorite thing that I've really done. And then the breakdown of shades, like when you said, like what really makes purple, like I'm thinking violet, cancel out the yellow, forget that there's red in there. Like there's red in that equation. So to see it mapped out like that, put me back on like, how many things am I reaching for out of like kind of trial and error, and I've done it and it's worked, or am I really using my brain and doing what I know and choosing properly? So those have helped me just make sure I'm staying sharp and to keep from getting complacent, because sometimes it's easy and there's some days I feel like I could do with the blindfold on and just kind of go and keep everyone happy. But am I really putting on my best and giving them my best and staying on point?
Absolutely. I think for me too, that dropping down levels is so scary. Like I remember I did my first root shadow. It was 9N. Talk about being safe. I was like, oh, hell no. I just did all those highlights. I just stood there and put all those little highlights in there. And now you're telling me I'm going to give you roots? What the hell is that technique? Like, I thought it was the stupidest idea ever when I first heard it. And now I'm like, God, I wish I could go back for my own hair, my wedding hair. Like I'm so used to seeing depth now at my roots. I love the difference in seeing how much more the blonde pops next to that depth, but it still scares the crap out of me every time I drop below a certain level. Like, in my dispensary, I don't even carry 1, 2, and 3. Like we start our color at 4, because we don't really do anybody that dark. And then I watch all these people, and I sent stuff to you guys, my new obsession from Australia. And, he'll go in with like a 3NW on the root. And I'm like, like to me, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so squid ink dark. And then it's not. And to your point about the wet hair, like there's so many factors. And you just said in 2 minutes, more than most people watching have learned in 2 years about those things, because people that are doing it right don't talk about it. They just do it, and you're watching them and you're like, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? And your point about the Sheila Stotts brush, when I saw him using that, I was like, oh, well, we can just do that with the wet brush. And then I'm like, you know what? No, because the wet brush is actually pulling the color off of the hair. It's like too much. And there's little fine pinpoint metal teeth just keeps bringing it down so, gradually and organically that it makes this beautiful melt with just a tool. It's crazy. Crazy the little things. How about you, Jess? What's something new and exciting besides the mat? That is a good discovery because that is a perfect scenario. What you talked about.
I'm super excited to go back in. I already have like people in my head that I want to do this on, but your new, just like foiling right in the front. Like I'm like, Steph, I can't wait to do that on Steph because she always wants that front blonde piece. And I'm always like, I do it, but I'm like, that is going to be like a wow for her. So I'm excited to like go in and actually do that on people.
Yeah, definitely try it because some of the members in my group, that's the first thing that they wrote as soon as they went back. They said, oh my gosh, that technique saved me because it's so quick. It's 18 foils, but there's so much impact. And think about it. Like when you guys see me on the coffee chat, all you're seeing is this part of my hair. Like God only knows what's going on back here. I can't reach it and I haven't really done too much to it. So most clients, that's all they're really concerned about is what they see in the front. And then underneath here is really important. A lot of people miss that this is part of the money piece. You want to go behind that ear in the back and pull some of that forward, especially for somebody like Steph.
So it doesn't like drop.
Right.
Yeah. Stop right here.
Like where you just see it end.
Right. It almost looks like you have extensions on when you don't.
Pull it all together.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm just seeing your private chat now. How stressed were you trying to get back on?
Oh my God. I was like, I ruined it. It's over.
I was just like, I'm just going to pull her out. She'll get it together. We'll see her again. That's technology. I'm so excited. I have big news. I am hosting a really awesome event in October. I'm not going to give away too many details, but it's going to be completely virtual. So right now my homework is trying to find the best way possible that people watching can have, low tech and the people presenting can have low tech, but we don't have many glitches because with everybody doing everything online now, it's like so hard to get a good connection. So I'm glad you figured out how to get back on here. Annalise said, I will not go back to double booking and being dead at the end of the day every day. However, it has been super hard to get used to it. Yeah, I can imagine, but you deserve to take that time. Now, that's something that I'm sure both of you, when you came from other salons, were probably in that 15 to 30 minute time block, the rush, do this, then go back to this, and then do that. And having that hour, you still end up needing more time a lot of times, right? Because you're able to do customized couture hair color for the client, for their face shape, for the length of their hair, the texture of their hair. You have time to actually be creative when you have that hour. And sometimes that's still not even enough. So double booking is just like, oh my gosh.
Well, even just to go back to like, make sure you got all the gray coverage done. Like if you have 30 minutes to put a touch up on and then the next client's here, it's like, how do you know that you got full coverage? And also, I'm wondering with the mask around the ears, like you have to really be careful. You're getting like all right in here. You have to like probably move the mask. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. I'll have to check in with you girls and see how that is. It's really, I can't imagine whenever everything is going to be somewhat normal. It's like kind of like what is normal anymore? Are we ever going to be what we once were? And we have to keep just adapting to it. So it should be very interesting, adapting to everything with masks, and just make sure you take breaks and drink lots of water and take care of yourself. I'm just looking through questions. Julie said, I think Julie's one of my students. Hi, Julie. I have anxiety every day with color clients, especially new clients. I do a lot of praying over the shampoo bowl. My theme song is Jesus Take the Wheel. I know it's, and it's simply pausing and saying, I don't know, right? Like you can just keep going on with the guessing as long as you want, but just understanding how simple it truly can be to the point of the violet. Like myself, I'm teaching people and I never really sat and thought about V being red and blue. And I would put V in situations and be like, my gosh, why does it look so red, like reddish purpley? Because you're adding more deep red to a red situation when really what you needed was green. And what the hell took Redken so long to come out with the green? We've been fighting the dragon of red for 25 years with not really a green tool. We have the GN, but GN is not the green that we needed it to
Not
be.
that green.
Yeah, it's way more neutral, which protects us from ourselves,
Yeah.
from having moss results, but also not green enough. Like if you ever go to, like for me, Aruba and Mexico, I would drop in at a salon when I'm on vacation because I'm a nerd and I want to see like what they do and how they do it differently. They have much greener, cooler, permanent colors from the same manufacturers that we use. Like we could have a L'Oreal chart in the US and not have the same shade that they have in like Mexico and other more Latino markets. And I thought that was crazy. I'm like, I didn't realize that other countries have different colors. And I think the manufacturers were afraid that we would misuse it on people that weren't levels 2, 3, and 4. We would use it on like maybe a 6 and turn it green and then bitch at them. Donna said she has a solution for the ear loops. Donna, what is it? She's going in and out of the room, so she might not still be here, but I'm curious. I've seen people put the mask, attach it around the client's neck with like a perm rod. Did you see that on forums? And there's like a long elastic extender, almost like a little bungee cord.
I saw that too.
That they use. And where did somebody get that? It was a place that you wouldn't have thought of, that they got those bungees. I have to look back and see where that was. But, and some people are saying that the clients are being really mean about it if they don't want to wear a mask. They're like offended that they're being asked to. And it's like, just everybody keep everybody healthy. Can you imagine?
Why not just play
Jill?
it safe?
Is Jill coming in?
I was actually not. I was on the phone with her several times yesterday, and she was on the phone with Brent. So she's not quite ready just yet. But the fact that we were even willing to make some special circumstances for her, even if she doesn't take us up on it, the fact that we were willing to, again, like the loyalty is there. She hasn't left her. She's just not ready just yet.
Okay.
So
I was worried about her. I'm like, she has to be. We have a client who's very in tune to germs and a germaphobe, and she has a medical reason for it, but she's like super, don't put that on me, don't touch. She won't wear the client robe, and she won't let you touch her neck with the cape and all that kind of stuff. So I thought about her. She has to be. Somebody said unfold a paper clip. Hold on. Unfold a paper clip. So is that just to extend the elastic a little bit, like a unwound paper clip, I guess? I'd have to see it. Samantha said you can use medical tape and undo. This sounds really bad and complicated. Tape it to the sides of the face.
I was thinking bra tape, like bra tape that you used to hold like camis and stuff still.
Stick it on there.
Okay,
we'll figure it out.
Take a spongy perm rod, make a hook on either end, loop ear loops through it, and attach it nape. Softer and more flexible than flex rods than regular perm rods or bungees. Spongy? What's a spongy perm rod? Do we even have spongy perm rods? I haven't laid eyes on a perm rod in about 4 years.
I think like the ones that little girls use for cheerleading and stuff, where it looks like a long.
Oh, those things we have those.
And you can like bend it up. Do we?
The bendies? Yeah, we have them in the basement.
Oh.
I miss your face, Alicia.
I can't wait to see your face.
Oh, thanks. You miss her face. You don't miss my face.
I miss you too, Elaine. I miss you too.
Yeah, whatever.
I miss your funny stories and being able to work a whole day saying like 2 words and just laughing.
Saying 2 words for lack
I have to
of
carry my own conversations now.
That's good. You have to dig deep.
Yes.
People are just talking about the matte and how it looks darker. Just going through see if anybody has questions for you girls. Tammy said, I hate kitchen hair. Me too, Tammy. I wouldn't even want my own damn hair done that way. My mom is one of those rebels who's making fun of having to get her temperature taken and everything. I forget where she went. Oh, she went to a new doctor, and she said, or eye doctor. She went to get her eyes checked, and she got there at like 10 of 12, and her appointment was for 12. And she walked right in, not thinking any different. And they were kind of like, why did you just walk in? Because you're supposed to sit in your car and be told when to come in. She doesn't follow any rules. Now you know where I came from. She raised me. So they're like, oh, you're early. And she's like, okay. And they're like, well, do you want to go sit in your car? And she's like, no, I'm good. So she's like, they took my temperature and this and that. And I said, Mom, you're going to have to do that when you go to the salon too. Like that's what you're supposed to do. That's ridiculous. She's just such a rebel. Yeah, I think that's it. Just tips on the mask and how to adjust it. So what was my other? I have one more question. Something that I did see and hear, which I'm excited for you guys. People that have gone back before you have talked about this time re-entry into the salon as being better than Christmas. That clients are tipping like crazy and are so appreciative that they just can't even believe what it's like. It's like Christmas all over again. So I'm anxious to see that dynamic. Not that they're coming in pissed off that they were told they couldn't come. They're coming in like, finally, thank God we're back, and that they're being super generous. So I like hearing that.
That's nice. I've even had people Venmo me, which is really nice too. I'm like, oh
really?
My God. Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
A handful, and
I
like
have the same.
Yeah, and it's like almost monthly. It seems like so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I even like Venmo'd all the people that I know are nurses that are my clients. Like, oh, get a coffee on me. And Venmo recognized it and Venmo'd me for doing like a kind deed, which was pretty cool, I thought.
Wow, that's awesome. I just got the chills.
Yeah.
You didn't send me a Venmo coffee. You don't feel so
You're not no nurse.
Still waiting from a Venmo coffee.
I was going to come bring you guys in person coffee deliveries on Friday, but I scored a nail appointment. So
get your nails done.
Oh, I missed my nails done. I've been painting them myself, but it doesn't they chip so fast. I literally painted these yesterday and it's chipped. I can't. I'm ready to just go back to just clear.
I just look like a boy. I look like a small boy.
No,
nothing.
So bad.
I know. I mean, the thing that grosses me out though is that I ever put my finger in that dip. Like now that the germ thing is a thing, I'm like, it's kind of gross. Like every single person putting their fingers in there, especially during flu season. It's almost like they should have a separate little, like what the dentist does, that little glass thing, like pour the powder in there for each individual person and have them dip. I wonder if they're going to let me know when you go back, because I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, I got the appointment. I was out running and they had the door open. They were finishing cleaning and putting up partitions and all the normal. I'm like, their door is open. Like, let me go. I wiped my brow. I went right up to the door. They're like, oh, we're opening Friday. I said, is there appointments left? And she said, yeah. She said, come at 10:30. So I said, I'll be here. So they have all the precautions, partitions between every station, every person. You can't even get in the door because there's like a table blocking you off, whatever. So I'll let you know how it goes.
But think about all that. Like, think about all these shields and all these things. And then there's that physical, like the brush and the nail polish has been on other people. Like that's where the germs are going to be, the actual touching of the nails. Like, did you see salons that put up shower curtains in between the stations? I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get how that is helping. People are wrapping the entire shampoo bowl in saran wrap for each client. I'm like, are you going to get the flu on your neck? Like, I don't get it. Am I missing something? Like, is it just like a paranoia of like?
certain things, I think, because like we went, Brian and I went out to dinner, and it's only outdoor seating, and you needed a mask just to walk up to the hostess stand, and then to walk to your table. But then everybody's sitting at their table with
And
them
you
on.
take it off. Yeah.
And I'm not like a germaphobe, so I'm careful and I'm cautious and stay in my own space. But some of it I feel like is going to be like just to say that it's there. I don't know.
Well, the whole thing with gloves, did you see that thing circulating where a nurse was like,
that's bad.
she had the gloves on and she touches her face and she touches her phone. And they're like, if you're not a nurse and you're not used to understanding what gloves do, it's like you're carrying the germs on the gloves now. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I watched a lady with gloves. She got out, she had her gloves on, had her car keys, got out her money, handed it to the lady, and then grabbed her ice cream cone, all with the same gloves on.
I saw a lady
Now you're
licking her
eating
finger.
the money.
Yeah.
Lick her finger with the
Lick
glove.
her finger
Yeah.
to open up a plastic bag. I was like, no.
Oh my
licking the
God.
glove.
See, people don't even realize look at my wrinkly chest. I got to get the hell out of the sun. I'm looking like Magda from Something About Mary. Got to cover up. Well, ladies, this has been a pleasure. I'm excited that you get to go back. Don't fall. Is that your phone falling or are you falling?
That was my phone falling.
I'm proud of you, Jess, for getting back on and doing the tech
I know,
thing.
it wasn't bad. It was actually really fun.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's fun to share your experience. You're going to give someone watching, who's the 7N queen or king, hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that once you understand, you'll be getting Venmo'd by clients. That's amazing. I love hearing that. You guys don't tell me anything. I didn't know any of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I even had one do for the virtual consultation, Venmo'd after that. And I said, this is so not necessary. And then I sent her where it was going, and I forwarded it to a friend of mine who was a teacher who wore a different costume to virtually teach her kids every day. It became like things. So I forwarded to the costume fund for her.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, people are just nice.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're very lucky.
It's a nasty world, but people in our industry and who we deal with are still nice.
Awesome. Well, we will end it on that note. Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Yeah.
Keep me posted on how it goes.
Right.
Sure.
Sounds
And
good.
I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Elaine.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.